So in this video, we're going to add in the camera move indicators to our board. And to do that, we have a couple tools down here on the Tools toolbar. The first one I want to look at is the Reframe tool. This one isn't for camera moves, but rather for defining the default position of the camera. So let's say that this shot isn't quite right. The camera should be in a little tighter. We can take the Reframe tool and make sure the Tool Properties window is open and that Maintain Aspect Ratio is checked. Then we can scale, position, and even rotate the frame if we want. Then over in the Tool Properties, we can either click this button to reset it back where it started, or click this button to apply the transformation. And now our shot has been reframed. This is now the default position for the camera for this panel. Now let's look at an actual camera move. To do that, we'll use this tool, the Camera tool. By default, it gives us a single frame that we can adjust, like we did with the Reframe tool, but changes you make with the Camera tool aren't permanent. If we click Reset over here in our Tool Properties, it resets back to the default position. Now, to indicate a camera move, we need two separate frames, one for the beginning and one for the end. To get those, we use these Add Keyframe buttons up here in the Tool Properties. I'm just going to use this button to add a keyframe to the start of the panel. And you can see we get a green starting position frame. Then I'll use this other button to add a keyframe to the end of the panel, and we get our red ending position panel. We can drag these around either by the center or by these little drag handles on the bottom, and we can scale and rotate them too. And you can see the path and direction the camera will follow is automatically indicated. If we want to change the path, we can click on this connecting line and bend the path however we want. So then what if we want more than two camera positions as part of the move? Well, to do that, let's get a little preview of our animatic and animation lessons and switch over to the timeline view. Now above our panel, on the timeline, you can see when we add a keyframe to the start and then the end of the shot, we get these little diamond dots above the panel on the timeline. You can actually scrub the playhead or play the timeline to see the camera move along the path, but more on that in another video. If I turn off the camera view button up here, we can actually see how it moves across the drawing. If we want to add another position somewhere in the middle, we just need to move our playhead somewhere in between, and use this last Add Keyframe button to add another keyframe between the other two. Now we have a move made up of three positions. To get rid of the keyframe, select it and use this Remove Keyframes button. While we're on the timeline, I wanted to point something out. The camera actually applies to the whole shot, not just a specific panel. Notice that these two panels are part of the same shot. Since we set the ending keyframe on this panel, it's going to stay in that position for the rest of the panels in the shot. But what we actually want is for this camera move to spread across both panels. So we can just drag that second keyframe to the end of the shot. And now you can see how the camera is meant to follow her up the stairs as she goes. Now the rest of the stuff in the Tool Properties panel we'll go over in later videos. But to finish up for now, these buttons here let you copy and paste a camera move from one panel to another. So you just select the panel and click this button to copy its camera, and then click another panel and click this button to paste it. And now, to show you what these moves will look like when the board is printed, I'm just going to switch over to the PDF view workspace. And then with this panel selected, I'll click Preview down here and you can see how it's indicated the camera move on our final PDF. The details of exactly how the board gets formatted can be controlled with all these settings, but that's for another video. I just wanted to show you in general how these camera moves will translate to paper. That's all the basic camera functionality for now. Once we get into animatics, we'll look more at actually controlling the timing of the camera animation. But for now, I'm just going to go through our demo board and put in all the camera moves. So that's all done. Next, before we do any more work on the board, we want to test it out by pitching it. We'll do that by switching over to pitch mode for the next video. I'll see you there.